No, that's impossible.
You're looking for one visitor. They only protect what belongs to them.
The weapon hit the metal floor with a sharp clang. No one bent to pick it up. No one even breathed. Commander Ori Vantal stood frozen behind the observation glass, staring at the young human woman and the 4 silent beasts surrounding her. The arrival hall, once filled with routine chatter, had become so quiet that every heartbeat seemed loud enough to echo through the station. The great transit gate finally stopped glowing. Its deep hum faded into silence. Still, the 4 enormous creatures never moved away from Alice Turner. They watched, they listened, they measured every person in the room. Ori forced himself to speak through the station comm. "Security team, hold your positions. Nobody fires." 6 veteran officers slowly lowered their weapons, but none relaxed. Every instinct they had learned during decades of service screamed that these creatures were apex predators, yet none showed the smallest sign of aggression. That made them even more frightening. High above the hall, scanner drones drifted into position. Thin blue beams swept across Alice and her silent guardians. The results appeared instantly. Human life form. Confirmed. The next 4 lines remained blank. No species, no origin, no biological record. Only one warning flashed across every monitor. Classification: unknown. A cold silence spread through the command bridge. Even the station's ancient artificial intelligence paused longer than normal before speaking. Database comparison complete. 0 matches found. Across the hall, Alice calmly rested one hand on the broad shoulder of the largest silver guardian. The beast lowered its massive head without taking its glowing amber eyes off the officers. It obeyed her without a sound. Commander Ori felt something he had not felt in many years: fear. Then every screen across the station suddenly changed by itself. A single classified message appeared in bright red letters. Access restricted. Human Protocol Omega has just been activated. The red warning remained on every screen. Human Protocol Omega activated. Nobody in the command bridge knew what it meant. Commander Ori Vantal searched the station archives, but every file connected to the message had been sealed under military encryption older than the station itself. Even the station's artificial intelligence refused to answer. Access denied. Those 3 words unsettled everyone more than the warning itself. Below, in the arrival hall, 6 security officers remained locked in place. Alice Turner never moved. Her 4 silent guardians stood exactly where they had stopped after leaving the gate. Not one of them growled. Not one showed its teeth. Yet, every officer felt the same heavy pressure pressing against their chest. It was the feeling prey experiences before seeing the hunter. "Run another scan," Ori ordered. "I want everything." The drones descended until they floated only a few meters above the creatures. Brighter beams crossed their bodies. Bone structure, muscle density, brain activity, cell growth. Every system worked perfectly. Then every scanner froze. One after another. Their displays filled with impossible numbers before shutting down completely. A technician stared at his console. "They're rewriting our scanners." Nobody understood what he meant. He replayed the recording. The scanners were no longer reading the creatures. Instead, the creatures were silently changing the scanner's operating code, without touching them, without transmitting a signal. The room became deathly quiet. Then something even stranger happened. The oldest guardian, the massive silver beast beside Alice, slowly lifted its head toward the observation window. Its glowing amber eyes locked directly onto Commander Ori. The distance was nearly 100 meters. The glass was polarized. No one should have been able to see through it. Still, it looked straight at him. Not with anger, not with hunger, with recognition. Ori stepped backward without realizing he had moved. At the same moment, Alarms exploded across the command bridge. Unauthorized network access detected. Every monitor changed again. Security cameras, power systems, docking controls, medical records, none had been hacked. They had simply opened by themselves. One message appeared across every screen. No hostile intent detected. No one had typed it. No system admitted creating it. Alice quietly looked toward the observation deck. She knew exactly what had happened. One nervous officer finally broke formation. His hands shook as he raised an electric pulse rifle. "I don't care what they are," he whispered. "They're dangerous." Before anyone could stop him, he pulled the trigger. The blue energy bolt crossed the hall in a flash. It never reached Alice. The smallest white guardian moved. Nobody actually saw it move. One frame showed it beside Alice. The next, it stood several meters away. The energy blast simply disappeared against its shoulder without leaving a mark. Silence crushed the room. The guardian did not attack. It slowly returned to Alice's side as though nothing had happened. Alice sighed softly. "I was hoping nobody would make that mistake." Every officer lowered their weapons. Fear had become something deeper, respect. Then the station AI spoke again, but this time its voice sounded different. Older, almost relieved. "Identity confirmed. A hidden chamber deep beneath Corvi Gate Station unlocked for the first time in over 1,000 years. Inside, a single black vault slowly opened. On the front of the ancient container, glowing silver letters appeared. Property of Earth. Do not wake the others." The ancient vault opened with a deep, metallic sound that echoed beneath Corvi Gate Station. Dust drifted through the air. No one had entered this chamber in 1,000 years. Commander Ori and Doran hurried toward the underground vault while security teams remained above, watching Alice and the 4 silent guardians. Inside the chamber stood only one object, a black crystal pillar. Its smooth surface suddenly came alive. A blue hologram appeared. An elderly human officer in an old Earth uniform looked directly at them. "If you are seeing this," the recording began, "then Humanity Protocol Omega has awakened. That means our guardians have returned." Ori exchanged a confused glance with Doran. "Guardians," he whispered. The hologram continued. "Long before the Galactic Assembly existed, humanity explored the Deathworld sector. Every empire believed nothing could survive there. They were wrong. Images filled the chamber. Massive predators, storm-covered planets, ancient forests where even the ground hunted. "We did not conquer these creatures," the officer said calmly. "We earned their trust." The pictures changed again. Human explorers stood beside the same giant beasts now protecting Alice Turner. Children played beside them. Families walked with them. The bond was real. It had existed for generations. "They are not weapons," the officer continued. "They choose their own partners. Once the bond is formed, they protect that human until death." Above the station, every emergency alarm suddenly screamed. A frightened technician shouted through the EA, "Come, Commander, thousands of unidentified ships have just entered the sector." The hologram's final words echoed through the chamber. "If they have come for the Guardians, they are already too late." Commander Ori looked toward the ceiling as the station shook from the first wave of arrivals. The invasion had begun. Warning sirens shook every deck of Corvi Gate Station. Commander Ori raced back onto the command bridge as the main display, filled with thousands of unknown warships surrounding the station. Their black hulls blocked the stars, stretching farther than the sensors could measure. Every ship carried the flag of a different empire. Old enemies had arrived together. That alone terrified Ori. "They're opening a channel," Doran reported. A towering alien commander appeared on the central screen. His voice was cold. "Station Commander, surrender the human and the 4 guardians immediately. They belong to no one." Ori looked through the observation window. Alice stood exactly where she had before. She did not even glance at the invading fleet. Instead, she gently scratched behind Juno's ear. The enormous silver guardian closed its glowing eyes for a brief second. It looked almost peaceful. "You have 1 minute," the alien commander warned. "Refuse and this station will be erased." Fear spread across the bridge. Some officers quietly stepped away from their consoles. Others waited for Ori's order. He opened the station-wide communication channel. "Alice, who are these people?" She slowly looked up. "They're not here to arrest me," she answered. "They're here because they're afraid." The alien commander slammed a fist onto his console. Enough. Hundreds of battleships powered their main weapons. Blue energy flooded the darkness outside. Before anyone could react, all 4 guardians lifted their heads together. Not a roar, not a growl, only silence. Then every weapon outside the station suddenly shut down. Thousands of warships drifted helplessly through space. Engines failed. Targeting systems disappeared. Entire fleets went dark at the same moment. Shock spread across every command ship. The alien commander stared at his dead controls in disbelief. Then a frightened sensor officer whispered words that froze every bridge across the fleet. "Sir, something much larger just arrived behind us." Every bridge across the invasion fleet fell silent. The sensor screens zoomed outward. Something enormous drifted through the darkness behind the warships. It was not one ship, it was hundreds. Each vessel was larger than a moon, covered in black armor scarred by battles older than recorded history. No engines burned, no weapons charged. They simply appeared, surrounding every escape route without a sound. Commander Ori stared at the impossible sight. "Who are they?" he whispered. Alice finally turned toward the observation window. "They're not our enemies," she said calmly. "They're the ones who stayed hidden." Across the enemy fleet, frightened admirals ordered every backup system online. Nothing answered. Their ships remained powerless. Then every ancient vessel activated at once. Soft white lights spread across their massive hulls. No attack came. No threats were spoken. A single transmission echoed across every ship in the sector. A calm human voice filled the silence. "This is the Earth Guardian fleet. You have entered protected space. You may leave." The alien commanders looked at one another in disbelief. One proud admiral ignored the warning. He ordered a hidden emergency missile launcher to fire. The missile never reached its target. Juno simply looked toward space. The missile stopped. It hung motionless between the fleets. Then it quietly turned around and returned to the ship that had launched it. The explosion lit the darkness. No other ship was harmed. Silence returned. For the first time in centuries, the greatest military powers in the galaxy understood a terrifying truth. Humanity had never become powerful by building the biggest weapons. Humanity had earned the loyalty of beings the universe itself respected. Then every ancient guardian ship slowly rotated toward deep space. Their sensors had detected something beyond the edge of the galaxy. Alice's calm expression disappeared for the first time. She took one slow breath. "They found us." And even the 4 fearless guardians lowered their heads toward the approaching darkness. The darkness beyond the galaxy did not attack. It waited. Even the ancient guardian fleet remained perfectly still. Commander Ori watched every screen in silence. For the first time in his career, an entire sector held its breath together. Alice stepped forward. The 4 guardians moved with her without a single command. Juno stood at her left. Ash watched the shadows. Rook scanned the stars. Ren stayed close to Alice's side. Then the darkness spoke. Its voice echoed inside every mind instead of through the speakers. "The bond still exists," Alice answered without fear. "It always will." The stars around the station began to glow. Thousands of hidden guardian ships emerged from deep space, surrounding the station in complete silence. They had not come to fight. They had come because one human had arrived. Commander Ori finally understood. The Guardians were never assigned to protect Earth. They had chosen humanity long ago, not because humans were the strongest, not because humans were fearless. But because humans had shown kindness to creatures every other civilization had tried to destroy, that single choice had changed history. The ancient presence slowly withdrew into the darkness. Then the galaxy is safe. For now. The shadow disappeared beyond the stars. One by one, the enemy fleets powered their engines again. No one fired. No one even spoke. The war had ended before it truly began. Months later, every galactic academy rewrote its history books. Every military commander learned the same lesson. Every ambassador memorized the same warning. If one human arrives alone, prepare for the family that may be walking beside them. Far beyond known space, another ancient gate slowly awakened. A young human child stepped through the light. The station was empty. Then 6 enormous shadows silently emerged behind the child. Some stories had ended. The next legend had only just begun.